Hi, this is Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Do my full-length, kind of rambling review of my 1022 Takedown build. Now, I started off with a Brownells BRN22 receiver that has the pick rail, integral pick rail on it. And kind of in retrospect, I kind of wished I could have picked up one of the non-pick rail versions, because then I would have had the choice of either going with Tech Sights front and rear or with the Volquartsen barrel with the cantilever mounted rail. I think that would have been a nice solution for optics. With that cantilever rail, I could have put a red dot on there and it would have remained nicely zeroed with the barrel. One thing also, this receiver has a hole in the back of the receiver for your cleaning rod to clean it out. Well, with a takedown rifle, you really don't need a hole for your cleaning rod because, well, this is easy to clean your barrel. Very easy to clean your barrel. And one of the accessories I went with once I had the receiver was the Volquartsen bolt. A very nice bolt. It's DLC coated, diamond light coating, which is very similar, like the finish that we have on the Mossberg MC2C. Very good, very slick coating. Lets all the machining show through on the with the coating, so it makes for a very precise fit, but yet slick, high lubricity, and very durable. And it also has a different recoil spring. So it installs and sets up differently, and you do have to be careful with the recoil spring. It is easy to actually let it fly and escape, but actually once you get used to it, it's actually pretty easy to pull that bolt out of the receiver. The one other thing you do, because this bolt threads onto the this bolt charging handle threads onto the bolt, you do have to take this bolt unthreaded off when you're doing a full field strip. But I think it's worth it for it has a very slick feel to it, much smoother than your typical stock Ruger bolt. The other thing is the firing pin runs through the center of the bolt. It's a round firing pin, not like that surface slicing, the firing pin, the flat one that slices through the top of the bolt on the standard Ruger bolt. So much nicer, higher quality bolt. Quite expensive, Volquartsen, but it's very nice. Now, as far as the trigger, I had a number of because I've run a lot of BX triggers in my other 1022s, including this one, and so I had some stock triggers in my inventory. So I thought, well, I'll go with the Volquartsen HP Plus upgrade kit, which gives a very nice trigger pull, and includes the auto boat release. So when you're, unlike, for example, this rifle, I don't have the auto boat release on it. So when you lock the bolt back, you can't just pull the bolt back and release it when you put a new mag in. You have to pull the bolt back, push, press, and release that, and then release it. And under some of the time drills of like the Project Appleseed AQT, that can be a bit of a hindrance for some people. It gets a little awkward. So with this one, you've got if you lock the bolt back, now all you have to do, I don't have to touch that little button, I just pull the bolt back and release it. So the trigger, the HP Plus kit includes that auto bolt release, and then also a different trigger itself, as well as different springs, so it's a much nicer, cleaner brake. The trigger brake on this is a little bit better than the BX trigger that I have on here, but not hugely different. It's just it is nice to have the higher quality springs in here. I do wish they included the spring for the bolt catch. Because they included all the other springs, but they did, so you had to use the stock Ruger bolt catch spring. So it'd been nice if they had included that. I also wish they included with the trigger kit the cross pins that attach the trigger to the receiver. So I had to actually source those separately, and so it was kind of a delay. And as far as my building this setup, waiting for those cross pins to come in, the pins that fit in through here that attach the trigger to the receiver. And so, you know, it'd been nice if those were included with the kit or with the receiver. One thing I didn't care for on this the trigger kit was I did install their mag release, which I kind of like. It's actually very similar to the stock one, just a slight change in the angle, but it does affect it so that when you do support hand, it can actually disengage the magazine. And I don't quite run into that issue with the stock trigger or stock mag release. Here's the stock mag release on this one, and I can actually put my support hand right on that and it won't drop that magazine. Where I had that happen several times with my Volquartsen HP Plus kit upgraded trigger with their mag release. So I think if I were doing the upgrade over, I would just have left the stock Ruger mag release in and not use the Volquartsen one. It's not such a big deal that I'm going to actually disassemble my trigger and remove that, but that is, I do kind of wish I'd have kept the stock Ruger mag release. I did not use Volquartsen's included bolt buffer pin. It is pretty flexible, and I had issues of it folding up inside the Brownell's receiver when trying to drive it out. I ended up using the buffer pin from TechSites, basically an inflexible steel rod covered by a polymer tube. Stiff, but with some impact absorption. I believe the Volquartsen pin would work fine in a stock Ruger receiver. Now the stock that I used with this takedown build is the Magpul X22 Backpacker. Very lightweight stock, compact, nice fit and finish for the takedown rifle. And only thing I think, a couple things about the stock, I mean, I really like it. It's for the takedown rifle, it's really the best option in my opinion. It has this little compartment here that'll hold, you know, 3 of the 10-round Ruger 1022 10-round magazines, so that's kind of cool. And they do have include a one with a little bit of a cheek riser on it in case you do run optics. I found with running my iron sights, the flush one fits. It's just great. I do wish the length of pull were just a little bit shorter, about 3/4 of an inch shorter. Not so much because I need the shorter length of pull for my trigger pull, but for when it would be nice when you break this thing down. And I do like how this fits in here. Here's the chamber part of your barrel, fits back into that rubber piece there. And then that clicks in there, so it stays in there nice, no rattling to speak of. I do wish though that this length from here to here were about 3/4 of an inch shorter. That would allow it to fit within your standard day pack backpack. And the length of pull would be shorter, but it would be not that big of an issue. The length of pull on this is actually 11.5 inches on this rifle. It's one of my Appleseed iron sight rifles, and so this one at 13 inches, it would be nice to knock 3/4, maybe an inch off of that length of pull, even if it cost me one of those magazines in the magazine storage area. I did go with a Ruger, their threaded barrel, and I did go with that direct from Ruger rather than going with one of the alternatives, third party like Tactical Solutions or Volquartsen. I went with that mainly because one Ruger has seems like they're doing some pretty good barrels nowadays, and this is a cold hammer forged steel barrel, so that's kind of nice. And then I was intending to run the TechSites front sight tower on here, and I was hoping to actually run an SU-16 style TechSites rear sight here, but that wouldn't fit, wouldn't clear the receiver. And I thought TechSites had a Picatinny rail mounted rear sight that I could have used, but it turned out it was not for Picatinny. It was for, I think, 3/8 inch dovetail. So I couldn't go that route. I had to end up for my iron sight setups. I actually used a Keltec SU-16 rear peep sight, which happens to work out the right height to match up with the tower on the barrel here. Now, some of the cool advantages of running this peep sight here on the receiver, or if it was on the receiver that didn't have the pick rail, you I could run the tech sights. But the cool thing is that gets me a really good lengthy sight radius. In fact, I think I get 3 inches more of sight radius compared to, say, you had maybe 6 inches more of sight radius compared to if you were running the barrel mounted sights right there. That's quite a big difference in sight radius. So, you know, there's always the concern of like the repeatable zero with a takedown barrel. And so some people insist on running a sight, all your sights on the barrel. And I think, I mean, you know, it'd be ideal, you know, in a way, to as far as repeatable zero, if the sights were all completely on the barrel. But I think the added sight radius is more valuable than that re-zero. You know, I figure, you know, breaking this down and just reassembling it over and over and over, it may affect my sight, my zero, by maybe, you know, a quarter or an eighth of a MOA, if that. Probably not even that much. And I'm pretty sure I gain more as far as my marksmanship ability with that added sight radius. So I've going with the Keltec peep rear and the tech sights front. I did find that I'm not shooting this quite as well as I am the setup here with the here I've got the tech sights rear sight. Here you can see it kind of extends back over the receiver, so you get even more sight radius on this one. And this rifle has an 18-inch barrel versus a 18.5-inch barrel versus 16.5-inch on this barrel I got from Ruger. I might have been nice to have went ahead and gone with the 18.5-inch barrel just to have that added sight radius. And especially since when in its takedown form, that added barrel length would not really have, see, I've got room. I could have 2 inches more barrel length there and still be within this overall compact form factor. So I kind of wish I had gotten that 18.5-inch barrel from Ruger, takedown barrel. I'm not even sure if they make that, but you know, if they did, I wish I gotten that. Now I think a couple of reasons that I think I'm doing a little bit better on the AQT with this rifle is that this peep sight, the aperture is .062, so it's about half that of this much larger aperture here. This is a .140 aperture on the Keltec sight, so I think that's one thing that makes me shoot this one a little bit better on the Project Appleseed AQT than this one. The other thing is the added sight radius, added barrel length. You know, this has a lot more sight radius. I'm going to show you on this. There's our front sight. You can see we've got, you know, about 3.5 inches of added sight radius on this rifle. 2 inches of that is from the added barrel length, and then other is the fact that this sight sits back farther on the receiver than this one. This one's sitting up here a little bit forward. And I do like that this one, when I do my turkey neck cheek weld, my eye is right up behind that peep, and so that peep really just blurs away, goes away. This one, I don't get quite up as close to the peep, so I kind of see the peep a little bit more, and I think that kind of throws me off. I do notice that when I was shooting my AQTs comparing these two rifles, I could see the front sight much clearer with this setup, and I assume that's because of the smaller aperture. That front sight really stood out and was very clear and crisp. And this one, it was pretty clear and crisp when I was shooting left-handed, but right-handed it just was, I don't know if this eye is not quite as good, but it wasn't as clear and crisp, even though my right eye was clear and crisp on this rifle. Now this setup, as far as weight, the backpack carbine here is about 8 ounces lighter than this one, and then you can see it's few inches shorter, but as far as packing it, This one is, once you take this one down, this is quite a bit shorter. In fact, it's 16¼ inches shorter than this rifle. And this is a pretty short rifle because I'm running the short length to pull buttstock insert here. And so you can see this definitely is not going to fit in a backpack. Most backpacks I find top out about right here for your day packs. So like I said, it'd be nice if this was a little bit shorter. I can, if I really stretch my backpack and really challenge those zippers, I can get this in my Mission First Tactical backpack, but it's not really, it just doesn't feel quite right. It feels like it's really going to tear up those zippers. Other thing is the maximum width, because this one had, with their stock Ruger charging handle, this one's width is quite, a little bit more. It's about 4/10 of an inch wider than the stock one. And I think for a backpack rifle, it'd be nice to have this shorter length charging handle. I don't understand why everyone thinks they need these big charging handles. These are one finger cock. I mean, or actually a thumb. I usually use my thumb cocked like that so I can use my index finger on that button down there. So that's, and then even here, you know, it's a one finger. It doesn't require a massive, you know, you don't need a lot of leverage on that charging handle. So potentially, I mean, I could cut this down if I wanted to. And I'm kind of debating whether to actually move the Volquartsen bolt with its charging handle to this rifle and then put the stock bolt and charging handle in my Takedown rifle, just to get that narrow profile for, you know, taking up less space in the backpack. Now, there's, you know, some people would say, oh, you know, you got this Ruger barrel on here, maybe it's not as good as some of the alternatives. And it's probably true, but probably not as true, not as big a deal as some would think. I found that when I ran my Spitfire, my Vortex Spitfire 5X on here during an AQT, because I was kind of finding I wasn't shooting this well with iron sight, so I put the Spitfire on there, and I scored really well with it with the Spitfire. So the barrel's definitely capable of doing good accuracy if the shooter's able to do it. And I'm not yet able to shoot this accurately with the irons. Certainly not as well as I can this rifle with the full tech sight set up. So I'm working on looking for a solution for this rear sight. One, to get either to mount some smaller apertures in this sight itself. I can drill and tap this out and then use some apertures to reduce this down to say 0.070 and reduce that aperture size, and I think that will help my eye clear up and be able to see that front sight better. But because of the shorter sight radius, I'm probably still not going to be able to do quite as well as I can with this one. Now, when I was comparing them, I did take, because normally I use my shooter sling for added, you know, as a shooter's aid during the Project Appleseed AQT. But when I did my testing, I took the sling off and shot both of these slingless. Speaking of slings, I do wish I could run a sling on this, and I suppose I could. They have holes here that you can get inserts for quick detach sling socket. And of course I would want ambi ones because I want it to be able to work on either side for either shooting left-handed or right-handed. I looked into the Sling Cutie Cup from Magpul, and for me to get all four of those, it's going to be $70 just for stupid sling sockets. So quick detach sling studs, and I was like, I just don't think I need the sling that bad. Especially for a backpack rifle. I'm not sure if I would actually carry the sling with me in a backpack generally. Probably would just carry it bare. So, you know, kind of wish like the Cutie Cup sling mounts weren't so expensive. Something to keep in mind is that while the Brownell's receiver includes a stock screw, neither the Ruger barrel nor the Magpul X22 backpacker stock include a second stock screw that would use to fit the hand guard to the barrel. Anyway, that's the AmbGun Ambidextrous Gunfighter full-length review, rambling review of the 1022 Takedown build. And be sure and check out the AmbGun 1022 Takedown build series in shorts. It's a series of videos on each part that made up this takedown rifle in under 60 seconds. And also be sure to check out the Takedown build webpage, the AmbGun webpage. There'll be links down in the description for all this. It's Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.